Hello again, SGBers. I'm Companion Wolf with another Smile Game Builder video. This video marks the 50th in the SGB Tutorials and Showcase series here on YouTube. Can you believe it's 50 videos old? Wow. So I thought I'd dedicate this one to looking back over some of the previous tutorials and videos I did and discussing certain areas that merit updates and expansion in light of many of SGB's updates in the form of an overview, tips and tricks video. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you want to be notified of when I upload new videos. Now, when Smile Game Builder was first announced back in 2016, I was privileged and honoured to be one of the pre-release beta testers, so I've seen it grow exponentially over the past year or so. It's undergone many updates, including the 3D character editor and the export for Unity DLC. Many of my tutorials have reflected these updates, changing and evolving as SGB has changed and evolved. And talking of the exporter for Unity DLC, I had planned a celebratory tutorial for exporting SGB games from Unity to Android, specifically for this version. Unfortunately, my poor computer, which I've nicknamed Dinosaur, just can't handle it. I tried a few times to do it, and it took an inordinate amount of time to go through the process and crashed several times as well. So that went up in smoke and I've given up on the idea for now. I'm now officially saving up for a newer, better computer, one that will allow me to do much more with the tutorials, including live streaming both SGB and many of the AAA games that I enjoy, which I'm not able to do with Dinosaur at all. If you'd like to donate something towards this, it would be greatly appreciated. There's a link to my PayPal in the description, and any contributions will go towards buying this new rig, the good rig, and your name will appear somewhere within the tutorials and the end credits. Although very limited when it was first released compared to what it can do now, at the time of its release it showed great promise and potential. And of all of the RPG making engines out there, RPG Maker 001, Eclipse, and the plethora of others that are available, I just clicked with SGB. So the very first tutorial I did was back in September 2016, and it wasn't actually a tutorial. It was a short overview of the features that SGB had to offer, since it was just released and fresh on the market. And I did several follow-ups summarizing some of the other things that SGB could do, namely map building and events, leading to updates and expansions and so on. And one thing led to another, and the video series was born. And that is what started this entire video series. So for the special 50th video anniversary, I'm going to return to Tutoria instead and bring some of the event routines from select tutorials up to date. And when I can properly live stream with the new computer, Tutoria will be developed in the stream so that it can become a fully playable game, but at the same time anyone in the live stream can contribute towards it, so it'll essentially be a community driven, tutorial driven game. Incidentally, Tutoria was the concept I originally had for creating a game using much of the content featured in the tutorials. I won't go into details on how to set up the events except where it's necessary, but instead we'll refer to the specific tutorials in the video and put the links to those videos in the order they're used so you can reference them at your will. Tutorial 12 announced the advanced variables, where a lot of different settings can be stored in the variables, which is going to be the first focal point. As a standard for all my tutorials and projects now, I place a parallel auto-running routine in the common events to set up and keep track of the main variables. As you can see, there are quite a few. Player keys, camera control and map control, And this updates in the background centrally, as opposed to having it in one place on each map, which you had to do before common events was implemented. And it keeps track of these changing values, so you can reference them at any point in your game. It's very useful to have. Another common event I sometimes use is one to toggle player control on or off. It's switch activated, so on sheet 1, when the switch is off, then all of the player controls are enabled or re-enabled. And then on sheet 2, it's set to on, and each one of these is set to disallow or ban. Each of the sheet's triggers is automatic one time. They'll be activated with the switch rather than being directly called from an event. These can be toggled at any point, and we will be using this shortly. Now, most games have a splash screen or some kind of preamble with creators information and the title at the beginning. So what I'm planning to do is set up a basic animation for Companion Wolf Presents and the main title logo for Tutoria. You can create a new map for this, and then in the map settings you can change the map extension to nothing and the unicolor to black. You don't have to do this part, but I just like doing it for consistency. So in the new event, triggered once only, the first thing to do is make the player transparent. This is obviously because you don't want the character to appear on the screen, right? So this is where the switch comes in. We will turn that switch in the disable enable control in common events on, and then now for the animations, which were presented in tutorial 14. These are set up so they appear off screen, and they will animate to the center points of the screen for each image. So now we have Companion Wolf. This one will slide down, and then Presents, it'll slide from right to left. Next we set up some variables for image X and image Y. These are the coordinates for the center of the map where we want the images to end up. And then we will move the image to the XY coordinates. This is number 1, which is the first image, which is the Companion Wolf Presents logo. It'll move down off screen to the center point, and then once again we assign image X and image Y the variables, because this is like a smaller size, so it'll move to its center point, assign it with the variables, wait 1.5 seconds, which to me is the ideal time so you can see, and then the images will fade out, delete the images. And then the next one is a Smile Boom logo, which is set to its central point. I haven't used the assigned by variable box because it's not being animated. 1.5 seconds, wait again delete the graphic, and then the logo. This is full screen, so it'll appear in the top left, but it'll display in the center. And then I created a little extra something. There's a game. The SGB logo will appear there, and it will fade in. Again, wait 1.5 seconds, delete the images, and then finally display the Tutoria logo, which once more is set. You can do these like using the move method with the variables. You can actually use it for different animations depending on your taste and desires. So after waiting and deleting the image, we turn that switch off and then change the player's location to wherever. In this case, it's the main house. The next tutorial after the initial showcases, which was actually split into 4 parts, focused on adding characters to each party. Each character required a certain item or condition before they join. Marie wanted flowers, notably a rare mountain flower. Ignaz, being the fierce mercenary type, wanted money. Lisa had trouble chasing her chickens to get an egg for breakfast. And Eldred required a random item. As I re-watched the 4 videos, I thought of ways to expand this character recruitment process, but rather than focusing on all of them, I thought I'd spice up the chickens, so to speak, and how they lay their eggs. So in each chicken event, I just added some randomness. For a bit of flourish, the chicken jumps with a sound. I got this one from Freesound, and it runs away from the player. Next, we set up a randomizer with a variable between 1 and 3 for our purposes. I've used the local variable for this, since local variables are exclusive to the events they're used in, and I've presented the options accordingly. I guess you could use a regular variable, but for purposes I don't see the point. Besides, because these are local variables, you don't have to use any additional variables, and you can free them up for something else. So if the random number is 1, then display a text, ha, almost had it. And then if it's number 2, cluck, the chicken laid an egg, and then you get the egg. And number 3, display an animation on the player. Ow! It pecked me is the display image. And then obviously you do this for each chicken. So to quickly play test, let's go chicken chasing. Chick, 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 chicken. Oh, I should put free movement on, it'll be easier. And he'll run away. Chicken. Ha! Got ya. And they seem completely random, but the eggs will then appear in the inventory. Now in tutorial 17 I showed you how you can open a dresser to display an image. In this case it was a list of the characters' requirements before they joined a party, and then cancel it with a key press. This simpler, easier way of doing it is thanks again to common events. But the first thing to do is to set up this common event, which has 2 sheets, one for displaying the images rather than having them in events themselves, and then the other one is for checking the key press. So to start, on the first sheet, this one would be executed from the event because we're going to call it as and when we need it, and then we turn the switch on. Once again, disable the player control, and then we execute the common event for the player control. Now this variable box check is based on the number of the image you want to display. I've used the variable randomizer, but of course you can have it something more meaningful like picture ID. This will be used in the event that we want to call. Under its yes, we display the message, display an image, and in this case it would be a shopping list. I set this graphics number to 0, but remember the images are stacked on top of one another, so if you have other images for such things as HUDs, then this number needs to be higher to display on top of those. And then at the very end, turn the local switch on. Sheet 2 needs to have its conditional local switch set to on. It's auto run and synchronize, and then we assign a variable to the key press logically, and then we assign a variable to whatever key you use to cancel it. Logically, cancel would be the best choice, so that's what I set it to. And then we have a variable box check, which is set to the key cancel, and it's set to 2, which is the number when it's first pressed. Under its yes, delete the image, and then wait anywhere from 0.5 to 1.5 seconds. This isn't really necessary, but it gives a little pause before turning the local player and control switches back on. Now onto setting up the dresser. In its event details, you will need a sound effect and an appropriate graphic for opening and closing. These are actually the defaults. You can wait half a second if you like, it's not necessary. Here is where the randomizer, remember that picture ID variable, we set it to 1 and then execute the common event, cancel with image, and wait some more, play the sound effects with chest for the closing, and then this is where you close. The waits here and in the common events are really for padding, but the door will close while you're reading it because of the way it's set up. There is a way you can make it so that the door closes after you've read the message and the image has disappeared, i.e. when you've pressed cancel, but I want to keep this simple for now. If you want to go a step further and use a table with a note on it, then place the table as the event, and then it's pretty much the same thing except you don't have the open and close things. You assign the variable to randomizer, call the common event, wait, play the sound effect, and then it'll display the image. So now play testing again. Go to the table first. Marie Flowers, Ignace Money, Lisa Eggs, Eldred, who knows? And you won't be able to move around or press any other key, and you press cancel, and you can do this multiple times. So now the next one, into the dresser, it's the same thing. And then when you press the cancel, and I think I'm going to end this video right here. In the next part, I'll continue this adventure through time and bring some of the other tutorials and snippets up to date. If you found this video useful, give it a like and subscribe for more videos, or visit my Twitter and Facebook accounts, or my official SGB website. And don't forget to join the unofficially official Smile Game Builder Discord channel for all the latest SGB news and resources, or just to generally chat. Everyone is welcome. All of the links will be in the description. If you want me to revisit something from a previous tutorial and bring it up to date, or if you have ideas for a new tutorial, let me know in the comments below and I'll look into it for a future one. I do have a lot of tutorials to go through and a lot of things planned, so it's just a matter of getting them all together and going through them. That's it for another video in the Smile Game Builder tutorials and showcases series. Thanks for watching. Until the next time.